one of the most powerful groups we've had, not to discount anything, but we've got some of the most amazing agents and team leaders in this group. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to wrap this up with some rapid fire ideas to give you guys some last minute things to either remind you what to do or to give you the ability to have some new things. So we'll start as soon as everybody stops talking. There we go. Look at that. I feel like a third grade teacher. That's great. That's great. All right, so just to kind of give you guys an idea, hadn't this been a great week? Everybody had a great week? Yeah, and I want to echo what Andrew said earlier. I don't know if Vince is around, but man, I've been impressed with a lot of things over my lifetime of having Vince as a friend, with his business, with the way that he is so focused on helping agents. But I've never been more impressed than I was of him last night, as he showed his heart and talked about what was truly important to him, to his family. And so, again, just before we get wrapped up here, Vince, just want to say thank you. If we can, just a round of applause for Vince. Yeah. All right, so we're going to get started with this. And Adam, I'm going to start with you. Let's just and we'll just go down the line. Let's talk about some things that obviously tell them who you are. The business obviously is so impressive, kind of what those numbers look like, and then maybe something you do consistently to help continue to grow that business.
Okay, so Adam Briley here in Omaha, Nebraska. We are definitely a growing team. I was the Navy SEAL team probably 3-4 years ago. There's like 10 of us, and then we've grown to, I'll just say 50 agents on the team today. Last year we did 302 million, 960 units. And long-term goal for me, I put it out there as much as I can, is I want to be $1 billion team. I want to be able to do $1 billion in 1 year, and I feel confident we'll get there in the next 3 to 5 years. So things, we're always like testing things, but I would say the most basic thing that we do as a team is just making sure that we're trying to keep a healthy pressure on everyone, because I think we all need that in life, to make sure we're doing the basic things that we need to do to perform.
Yeah, and so when we were up in your office, you could see kind of some of the things that you just have right there. I mean, you can't hide from the numbers. Yep. What does that look like as far as that accountability for the team members that you keep up with?
So we break our teams into thirds. So if you're in the top third, we kind of leave you alone. Like, it's kind of like a slap on the butt. Like, hey, good job. Like, you're doing good. If you need anything from us, we're here for you. We still check in with them, but it's the second and third tier down is where we do weekly accountability. So in that accountability meeting, it's an hour long every Monday, and they have to give 2 business commitments and 1 personal commitment to help them move the needle in their life, whatever that is. So it could be like, okay, I'm going to go door knocks X amount of properties. I'm going to make this many phone calls, whatever business item. We try, the reality is we can all complicate things so much in this world, and there's tons of shiny objects out there that you can chase all over the place. So we try to keep it basic. To me, I'm a little old school. I like to just pick up the phone and call people and get in front of people, and it's what I know works, right. And so we try to push that as much as we can.
Yeah, so this is what I like about you, Adam, too, is that the way that you're running a business, but you still run your own business, your individual business. A lot of team leaders are kind of separating away from selling. You still continue to do that.
I'm still
You were prospecting the other morning when the recording was
doing it this morning, too.
Yeah, so what does that look like for you on a daily basis? What does that look like prospecting-wise?
So for me, it's very casual. Like, I don't have like this. I try not to overcomplicate it for myself to then where I shut down. And because I've been there many times, like I commit to way bigger numbers than I know I'll ever going to get, and then you don't do any of it because it just shuts you down mentally. I literally set a goal like, I'm going to reach out to 5 past clients a day. That's it.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's consistently compounding. Now, I will say this, though. I got pulled back into certain things the last few months, and it's affected my business today for sure. But I know I've identified what that was, and I was working on other business things that we had to do, right? So, but now I'm back into it. The last few weeks I've been back into it, and I'm already seeing like I'm going to a listing appointment right after this at 1:30. So that's
Hey, speak to that, because I think everybody here gets those distractions that come. How do you get back on track? How did you get back on track in the last couple weeks?
Well, one thing that I always needed to remind myself to do better is constantly looking at the numbers. My team's numbers, profitability, P&L statements, and then me where I'm at too. And it's just, if I keep that constantly in front of me, just like a team member, if you're keeping those numbers in front of you, I feel like that's a huge win. That's one thing I wish I did 15 years ago, is tracked all my numbers and KPIs to the penny, to the super detailed. I can't imagine where I'd be at today.
Yeah, that's amazing. Big baller shot caller. That's what you are. My boy. Mamie, you can follow Adam. Congratulations. I know, but
Just switch seats here.
Mamie, tell us a little bit about your business, something that you do consistently in your business that really helps move the ball forward.
Okay. My name is Mamie Jackson. My husband and I have the Jackson Group. I've been in the business about 19 years. He's been in the business about 15 years. And on our team, we have about 5 selling agents. I think things that we've done consistently has changed and it's evolved. I think over the last few years, it's really evolved. One of the things that's hit me the last couple weeks was Let It Go. If I could sing, I would say Let It Go, or that song by Gail, ABCDEFU. Like, I don't care. Like,
yeah.
Things are gonna happen, and
did anybody expect that from Mamie? Did y'all see that coming? No, that's great. That's
It's like, you can be mad. I'm very Italian, and you don't need to die to be dead to me. But I mean, I just moving on. So bad things happen. You take the knife out of your back, and you move on. And I'm really good at that. 24 hours. And then I go, because I just need to do something else. It kind of motivates you. I think I operate my business, and my husband and I both do, really ethically. We would never. My whole goal with real estate is I go to bed every night and I can sleep. I don't worry about, oh my God, is that going to come back to me? I don't have to look over my shoulder. It's just a really good way for us to conduct our business. I suggest it to everybody. It's just easier. You can breathe. You're just never worrying about things like that. And for us too, I feel like when that happens, you're just so motivated to get the next deal. And I think karma plays a role in it, because by golly, every week after that happens, the phone will ring, something will happen, just something out of the blue. So I do believe that. Also, I think just connecting consistently, like a lot of the people said in the previous panel, with our current clients, we're 95+% referral business. It's just keeping up with them out of the blue, sending them things. Just last week, one of the girls, I just remember she was one of those aromatherapy people. So I saw something that smelled good to me. I would never use it, but I just sent it to her, and she was like, oh my God, I can't believe you believe that. You remember that. So that's another thing we do consistently, is just keeping up on our folks and kind of trying to spoil them.
How do you make sure that you're doing that and nobody falls through? Do y'all track any of that, where your communication and maybe a CRM or anything, or what do you do?
That would be a really good idea, but no. I'm going to try out this KV Core, and again, 19 years it's been here. It's been on an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So we really don't. It's honestly more going through our phones, going through our Excel spreadsheet and seeing who, I haven't talked to them in a while.
Yeah.
So I literally sent a note to a client of ours that moved out of town but has referred me. And I went to go turn onto Fort Street today, and if anybody in Omaha, Fort Street in the morning, it's like, what the hell was I thinking? And I literally texted them, I'm like, freaking Fort! And she sent back a thing, she just had a baby, so I'll have to send her something, and just things like that.
That's awesome. What are some of those, like you mentioned you had sent a gift, what is a typical gift like for some of those folks, or get an idea of some of that stuff?
Well, if any of some people here know too, this is really weird, but dish towels is a thing. I mentioned it before. Send dish towels around the holidays that say funny things like, what'd you get for Christmas? I got fat. That's what I got for Christmas. Things like that. Or it really depends on them. Brownies is a big thing. Is it Eastern Standard Provisions, those pretzels? I don't know if y'all are getting those emails about them. They're freaking amazing, and they're pretty reasonably priced. And everybody loves soft pretzels. So that's a new thing I'm doing. And then it really just depends on the people. I try to make it as personal as I can.
Yeah, it's good. Nico, what's going on? Tell them a little bit about you and what you're doing right now consistently.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Nico Marasco. I'm an individual agent here in Omaha at Berkshire. I have a marketing director. His name's Cole. He's standing right there at the camera. Everyone wave, say hi to Cole.
That's right.
And then I have an assistant who's in the process of getting licensed. His name's Adrian. He's in the back corner right there. Adrian, stand up. Everyone wave, say hi, Adrian.
Hi, Adrian.
Okay, perfect. We got that out of the way. I've been in the business for almost 9 years now. I'm a second generation realtor. My father was in the business for over 35 years, was one of the best, actually the best realtor.
The best.
You know? Yeah, the best in Omaha. Last year we did 72 or 77 transactions for 37 million. This year we're down a little bit. Current pending and closed is 55 units for about 31 million. So we're still rocking and rolling. I think the thing that we do consistently is just like for me it's a personal thing. It's just like my personal routine and translates over to my business. So when I get out of my routine, as far as just the simple things of not going to bed at the same time at night or not following my routine in the morning, it is just an absolute domino effect that rolls into the business. So that's been something that even as the market's gotten tighter and tighter, that I've been more disciplined and strict about is my own personal routine, so then I could be the best I could be for these guys and for my clients. One thing that we do, it just on a just being consistent with following our systems and processes. So during the COVID craze, we got away from these programs that we put in place that helped our business run efficiently because things were so crazy, we just didn't have time to do it. So now that we have a little bit more free time on our hand, we're utilizing that to put these process and systems back into place, but also modifying them from what we learned during COVID. Like maybe what we were doing originally wasn't sustainable because it took so much time. So now we need to figure out, okay, what can we do to modify these to make it more proactive so when the market does swing back the other way, we're not, running with our hair on fire.
Yeah, it's good. Talk about kind of the service you give to the clients, because you're obviously building, a business that is repeat and referral.
Yeah, I would say 95, 98, whatever percent, all of my business is pretty much referral. I don't do prospecting. I don't do cold calling. I need to. I have recently hired a coach, and that's been interesting. I don't like having somebody tell me what to do, minus my wife. So we're getting there. We're learning. He's giving me tiny little fish food to eat. Kind of like what Adam said. It's small projects, small numbers, small, just kind of like building to a bigger thing, which is nice. Not like coming right out of the gates. Like I want you to call 50 people in the next week and sit down and have lunch with them. Like that's just not going to happen. But one thing that we do for our clients is I always tell them when we're doing when we're sitting down at their kitchen table is, I'm not a real estate agent. I'm in the real estate concierge business. My job is to make this as easy, stress-free, and as seamless for you as possible. We offer kind of that white glove, so to speak, service where whatever you need an electrician, you need a painter, you need a carpenter, you need a whatever, a roofer, we have that covered. My job is to make sure the only thing that you have to worry about is packing and moving. We will take care of everything else. Down to, I'm a notary here in Nebraska, and I go and have my sellers sign the deed set in person. So I take the deed set from the title company to my sellers, sit down at their kitchen table, and get that signed with them. And that's the most exciting part of the transaction for the seller. I mean, that's their closing. That's the part you should be celebrating with them. So I try to just keep it as efficient and stress-free for them as possible, because moving's a bitch. It's an absolute nightmare. And I think as realtors, we should move every 3 to 5 years just to remember how much of a nightmare it actually is.
Self-abusive. That's good. Hey, Kyle, let's talk a little bit about what your business looks like now, and then I want to circle back and talk about what it's looked like change-wise over the last year or so.
Yeah. Mic check. My business has changed quite a bit over the last probably 18 months. I'm on the REITing Council with Nico here, and going into our first session last year, I was a solo agent that was probably 95% referrals and sphere of influence. I was a high school track coach for 10 years. I worked in a restaurant for a long time, and so I had a pretty large sphere of influence, right? And so it's a very self-sustaining business. But thanks to you and Vince and everyone, kind of got talked into the team thing. I was on a pretty back-breaking pace at the beginning of last year. So Q1 I was a solo agent, and then Q2 and Q3 was a small team, and then finished the year as a medium team. But had a good year. We closed about 160 transactions, but it was a whirlwind. It was just a lot of scrambling I kind of took myself out of production probably through the last quarter of the year, because I just really needed to get scalable systems and tools in place to, because this team was just growing faster than I had control over, to be honest. Did zero recruiting, so it's hard to tell good people no that are going to fit your culture. And so kind of took myself out of production, got that in place, and then started the year this year at medium, and now just kind of entered that large team category in the last few months. So
Yeah, that's good. Adam, let's circle back to you. I mean, one of the things I love is how simple you keep things.
Not everything.
No, not everything. But let's do this. If there's a piece of technology that you guys are using or that stood out that you couldn't do without, what would it be?
I would say the newest one that we signed up for we're definitely seeing immediate impact. I do believe it's market exclusive, so is Fellow. It's basically HomeBot. I always do this if there's a vendor here. It's not intentional, but Fellow is HomeBot on steroids. And so we were using HomeBot.
Turn off his mic.
What's that?
Turn off his mic.
Yeah. But use the same idea for HomeBot, right?
Yeah.
So what Fellow does is it's taking information and it's giving them home value site, just like there's a lot of those sites out there, right? But it's retargeting people and it's bringing in a lot of people and getting them excited about their home value. I mean, we just closed 2 listings last week on that, just from Fellow, and we just started this thing 3 months ago. So when I think of that, knowing, okay, because they wanted me to bring up one tech thing that we started, and I'm a big believer in Fellow, is take the HomeBot thing and try to put some sort of targeting system behind it. Would be the same concept, because then you're pulling in these people, like people that bought, think of all the people that bought 3, 4, 5 years ago. They have no idea what their home value is.
Right.
You think they know, but they don't. They really don't know. Like, I call so many people, and they're like, "Oh shit, my house is worth that." Like, okay, let's have a talk. So I think that's like the big, that's where we're trying to focus a lot of our energy right now.
Yeah. Adam, talk a little bit about kind of, everything's driven by the phone for you. I think sometimes people overcomplicate the prospecting side of it. What does that look like as far as lead generation for the team? What does it look like for you and the follow-up on that?
Yeah, so my personal business is just like these guys. It's 90% just my sphere referral business. And I'm 50%. I probably will have a failing grade, actually, if you really look at my prospecting going into it. But I try to get at least a 70% grade on my prospecting, if that makes sense at all to you. But if we're talking the team, have you guys heard of Zillow Flex? So we are a flex team. That was really probably one of the biggest parts of our team's growth. I love Zillow and I hate Zillow, just so you guys know. I mean, Zillow to me is the heroin for an agent. And the moment you get on it, it's really hard to get off, because a Zillow Flex lead, I hate to say this, because I was paying $28,000 a month towards market-based pricing before we went into Flex. And they are substantially higher quality leads, but you're paying 35%, right? So there were times where we're doing 50, 60 deals a month off of Zillow leads alone. That scares the shit out of me. Because if you're so dependent as an agent off of one lead source, and so that's been a big shift for us on our team, like getting them to do more outbound type prospecting, because again, I've found agents would rather get paid less for a teed up deal that's just ready to go. But Zillow knows that too, so they're doing that too. So that whole world, it's definitely a little scary, because I already know Zillow. I mean, they've not said it, but I already know what's going to happen. They're going to keep raising that fee up and start sucking everything dry as much as you can. So with that, what's really important for us is our ancillary services. And I don't look at the team, I'm going to make money on my team, ever. Unfortunately, I look at it purely on my mortgage, title, and we insure insurance company.
Yeah. What about you?
But Zillow is the biggest lead gen source.
Yeah. What about you personally? How do you decide who you're going to make those calls to on a daily basis? Do you have
I use Sierra.
Yeah.
So Sierra, we had Boomtown. We switched from Boomtown, went to Sierra. It just has a lot more tools integrated within it, and look what Mamie does this. Megan Owens does this. I'm pretty sure Megan still uses Excel. I used Top Producer for years.
Yeah.
You don't have to complicate it. It's just a simple thing to put your contacts in a database and set up reminders of who you need to call based on their time frames. I mean, shit, there's people that have been working for 9 years. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to get them to list their house eventually.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. And I will add, obviously, because we use HomeBot, and we do very similar to what you're saying, is we'll take and we'll utilize that. We'll utilize the data that we're getting on who is doing what, and then we're retargeting those folks, and it's been tremendous for us as well. So maybe specific type of maybe technology or tool that you're using right now?
My phone is. We're just. Yeah, I'm going to go on Instagram, and then I'm going to make all of you follow me, and I'm going to say something about something. I swear. It just hasn't been. But see, you're laughing at me. So this is my thing. Like, my clients think I'm funny. My husband less so. So that literally, that's kind of my thing. Whether and I probably haven't met 99% of you and you're probably like, oh, she's up there because you've just seen me walking around. I am not good with a bunch of people in a room. Like, hi, in introducing myself. I'm much better in smaller settings. So my events are smaller, either at my house or lunches or. Vince knows I do a trip to Kansas City on a bus, and that's only 50 people, and they already know me. You all scare the hell out of me. But on a one-on-one or just up here, I'm totally fine. So I'm better with my phone. I'll call you. I'll text you. I'll use my credit card and take you to lunch, but that's as techie as it's been so far.
No, that's really good. So let's talk a little bit about the trip to Kansas City, because it is pretty cool what you do and kind of what that looks like.
Yeah, so I charter a bus. My husband and I charter a bus. I always say I, but it is both of us. But everyone who knows us, he's like never around. But no, we have our strengths. We charter a bus. You know, we charter a bus, and then we just invite clients and referral sources. My kids seem to sneak on every time as well. But then we'll charter a bus. We meet here at 8 a.m. We have mimosas, Bloody Marys, breakfast type stuff. We get on the bus. We head down to Kansas City to a shopping area, the plaza down there, and it's always on a Saturday, always on a Nebraska. You have to be strategic. It's always on an away game, and it's got to be a weird one, because if it's a popular one that no one goes to, then everyone gets married that Saturday. So that's, it is something. So it's always an away game. So when people travel with me, if there's guys, they can go to the bars and watch football, or gals and watch football, or you can shop. And then it's a hard 5 o'clock back on the bus. We do giveaways. I have purged my gift closets multiple times by just bringing all my crap on the bus, and everybody loves it, and we just give stuff away. And it's some ROI, definitely. Yeah. And my clients know why I do it. They're like, hey, I got someone who's hot. Can I bring them? And I go, if they are going to buy or sell, yeah, you can bring them. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. And y'all pay for that yourself, or do you use sponsors at all, or?
No, and I forget who else was. We don't have any partners pay for anything. We haven't in our career, and I know we should, but I just don't like the perception of that type thing.
Yeah.
But asking for the deal, I'm totally good with, and again, in a funny way, I'm like, did you have a good time? Did you enjoy yourself? Do you have any idea how much this costs? And I'm going to need a referral, whether it was our baseball suite, our soccer suite, whether it's baseball, whether it's the bus, whether it's our holiday party that we drop $1 gazillion on. They know. I train them. They know. Yeah. We need help paying for this.
All right, you brought them up, so let's talk about a couple of those others. Any of those in particular that stand out, the different types of client appreciation, and just inviting to using those tickets.
So this is the first year we didn't do our baseball suite or our soccer suite, and we didn't do those because it just became so cost prohibitive. Soccer got popular. It went from $7,000 to $14,000 for 16 games before I even bought a drink or food, and it's only 18 people, so we kind of stopped doing that. Our holiday party was super successful. It's been at a wine and cheese bar for the last 6-7 years. And this last year, we moved it to a speakeasy. Super cool place. And I think we had a super good turnout because a lot of people had never been there, and they maybe thought they weren't cool enough to go there because you have to go down and do all that stuff. So I think they came because like, oh my God, I don't know if we'll ever get there again or feel comfortable going. So it was a ridiculous thing. My caterer did cancel 2.5 hours before the event. Then you know who your real friends are and which places you're going to patronize that are going to save your ass and get you food there. But that's always a great fun event. We always have a giveaway. We gave away like liquor at that one because it was speakeasy, so we did something fun with that. Trying to think what else. I do a door charm painting party. Just ladies come in on a Saturday morning and we paint door charms. I pay for half of it, so it costs them like $20. And it's super cool because my artists are super talented. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Adam, y'all do anything client appreciation wise?
We haven't. We used to, but not like Mamie does. Holy shit.
Right? I know.
She's talking about how she's like an introvert or whatever.
I know.
And she's like a social butterfly to me, but
Yeah.
Small groups.
That's right.
Small group.
That's right. I know. No, you are killing the game, by the way. Yeah, you should be doing way more of this. You're really doing great. All right, Nico, what about y'all, technology-wise? Anything you're doing?
New piece of technology we just started using is called Hootsuite. It's been really, really phenomenal to help us dial in our social media. So instead of feeling like we're walking around and just kind of guessing what people want to see, we can, we're like experimenting with different posts and making minor tweaks and modifications and monitoring all the analytics to see, okay, we need to do it this way, keep it around this time, and then our engagement rate goes up by 35%. So that's been pretty helpful. Something I can't live without is probably my docket legal pads. I have them everywhere. They are my best friend. I have probably like 10 or 15 of them in my drawer. I'm pretty old school. If anyone that knows me and how I operate, very, very old. So I'm 29, but I feel like I'm 55 years old. And so I always get made fun of for that all the time. But like we still use files. I still, I try to have as many in-person meetings with my clients as I can. I still get a lot of like if I can sign the listing contract in person, I prefer to do it that way too. And I just find that to be very helpful. But I just always have a docket legal pad around me, constantly taking notes down. Our CRM system is also an Excel spreadsheet. And I'll just, jot down 4 or 5 names on that docket pad that I need to call that week. And there's just something so satisfying of taking a pen and crossing it off.
Lists are awesome.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's good. What about client appreciation? Y'all doing anything?
No.
Nothing.
Nope.
Okay.
I know we need to. Vince always makes fun of me and gets on my case. See, look at him right back there. I told you, 2025, baby. Client appreciation part. Hell yeah. Fire me up.
What's amazing is 29, right? You're 29, right?
Yeah.
So at 29, you can screw it up for the next 5 years. You're still fine. You know what I mean? Isn't that crazy? I know. So you mentioned lunches and going with some clients individually. What does that look like? Who do you decide to do that with, and how does that look as far as invitation?
Honestly, it's kind of just random. I look at Facebook every morning for like birthdays. That's a gimme layup. Touch, happy birthday. Yeah. And then while I'm on there, just seeing, who got a promotion, who got fired, who's having a baby. And I'll just reach out to them, or I'll go back, okay, it's been about 5-6 years since I've, seen some of these people. Maybe let's grab lunch, let's grab coffee and catch up. And it's super casual. Yeah. Or we have Husker tickets, so season tickets to Husker football, so we'll always invite a couple clients down. We always do a tailgate, and it's a ton of fun. So it's just kind of, honestly, we just shoot from the hip and just,
So you go ahead and buy with your annual, you just buy extra tickets and then you just decide to invite people?
Yeah, we'll have 8 tickets. So I usually donate 2, and then it'll be my wife and I, and then we'll bring either, another couple or 2 other couples down with us.
That's great. Good stuff. Kyle, technology-wise, what are you doing? Anything?
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's the one go-to, but I'd say the big 3 for us. First being just a fully integrated CRM. I was relatively new to that. I kind of came into it because of the whole starting a team thing. I realized that we needed the ability to track and just really drive leads, because I never really played with leads ever in my career until the team thing. So fully integrated CRM, game changer for my business. Being able to create landing pages that just grab as much data as you possibly can from pretty much everyone. Being able to then use it for lead routing, just use it for everything. So I use the CRM a lot. I am on HomeBot too. Heidi Harris actually talked to me in a HomeBot. I believe she said I pledge allegiance to HomeBot on a Zoom call one time. So that's been good for us. And honestly, just RedX. RedX with the geo leads and the dialer, I think is important. We started doing Vince's Nosy Neighbor open house, but I can't call it that because I own a royalty every time I do. So, but we've had a lot of success with that at our open houses. And so, I'd just say RedX, the CRM, and HomeBot.
Yeah. Hey, Andrew brought up, that we're not just in this business to make income, it's to build wealth. I know investing is important to some of y'all. You want to mention a little bit kind of what that looks like to you and how you focused on that?
Yeah, so, I kind of, and those who attended my panel yesterday kind of already know this, but I kind of fell into the real estate industry, at least the sales side, because of the real estate investing industry. So I kind of accidentally flipped a house in 2008. I didn't realize that, hey, prices are bottomed out because, it's a recession. So flipped that house, ended up, with obviously a lot of equity in it. And so at that point started buying up multifamily investment properties on the residential side. And that kind of just led me as a natural progression into real estate sales. And so it's always been a niche of mine. It's a time-consuming niche, and so now a lot of my team kind of manages that book of business for me. Lisa, does a great job too with this. Just going, evaluating properties, and sending them out to the people that are looking for them. The two people that handle the majority of our investors, I tell them all the time, you could probably sell an unlimited amount of houses. However much time you want to spend into this, you can sell as much as you want. And so they kind of keep me humble. I make it a point where I try to lead by example. And so I never want to be outsold by anyone on the team. But some of these investor guys on my team, man, I look at their numbers. I was like, all right, I need to go make a few phone calls.
Yeah. Investing's still playing a big part in your life, though, as far as for personal wealth building, obviously.
Yeah, and honestly, doing it yourself is going to give you the knowledge and the team around you to be able to then push your clients to that. The two biggest things with real estate investing is knowing your stuff. Because the people that know are going to ease, like, you can't fake it till you make it with the real estate investing, right? Like real estate sales, you kind of do, not with investors. You say one wrong thing and they're going to know that you're faking it. So. Just really gaining that knowledge, and then secondly, building that team around you. You need a good lenders, good title companies, and not just like your conforming loan lenders. You're not doing Fannie and Freddie with this stuff, right? You need a portfolio person or just somebody that can get creative. Those are the people that you need, and as you build that team for yourself, as you're in real estate investing, you then can use that to push onto clients, and now you're kind of a concierge, and that's really what real estate investors want, because a lot of times they're out of state, so you're their guy, like. They're relying on you for contractors, for everything. And so if you build that team for yourself, you can then, add that as a value to your clients.
Yeah. Adam, I've heard you say that if you could, you would probably just focus on investing at some point. What does that look like for you as far as how important it is?
That's actually how my wife and I make our world go round and round. That we make substantially more money on the investing side of it than we ever could running a team or selling real estate. So that has been a huge focus of ours. So how we do that is we were mostly doing flips. I think the last couple years we were doing about 70 to 75 flips a year. We might do 60 this year. But and we're starting to shift it to go more after buy and hold. We never wholesaled. I would buy it, not do a thing to it, then resell it. But I was legit buying it, so I wasn't really wholesaling it. So mainly fix and flip, but we're now starting to switch to the buy and hold. I believe, what's going to happen when rates go back down?
Yeah,
it's going to go crazy. But
right.
The hard thing when we're buying this, we're not paying cash. We have a good relationship with our banker, and he can get a deal closed for me in about a week to 2 weeks if I needed it. But you're paying a higher rate, right? Like you're paying 8.5% to 9% at times. So your holding cost has definitely gone up. But I'm looking at this long game, and I do believe in the next 3 years, like all in our market, like the 250, 350 houses are going to substantially go up in value. So what we do is we've gotten as many of our team members that we feel comfortable with. So like one of them's in the back room, Aaron's in the back room. He and I have killed it with fix and flips and buying and holding. He's like on a mission to get as many of these deals as he can, and he crushes it with it. We started doing this, 2 years ago? Fix and flipping, and we now have 5 or 6 rentals in our little portfolio. He's looking at more land to do build to rent, and he and I probably have done 50 flips together, I would say, easily. And I think any given time we have maybe $300 to $400 and some $1,000 just floating in our business account that we started from scratch 2 years ago. And I like it because, number one, it is a retention tool for your agents. Like I don't hide that. They know that. But also, I'm helping them build wealth, and I'm building wealth at the same time. So now we have this army. There's 9 of us, 9 agents on our team we do this with, and I'll do it with anyone on my team. But they got to prove that they're in it for the long haul before I go start a corporation with them, an LLC with them, before I legit partner that way. So at any given time, I have all these people on our team that are searching for good investment properties.
Yeah.
And that's probably Aaron's number one focus is, I don't even know if he sells much real estate anymore.
Yeah.
Stuck.
So, most people can't relate to doing that many deals as far as investments every year. How did you get started? So there may be some people here that have not done one or that are wanting to do a few. how did it happen for you that you actually got started?
Vince knows this. I'm a huge risk taker, like extremely big risk taker. I mean, there's times where I had like, I don't know, $15 million out in loans just hanging there. But that, I don't know, I never get worried about money. I've been money tight for sure, where I'm like, am I going to get through this? But we always seem to figure out a way to get through it. And worst case scenario, if they take away all your money, what are they going to do? They're not going to take away your birthday, like, you know. So that's how I've always operated. So we just jumped into it. But my wife is a huge credit. She runs like she's basically GC. She runs the whole project. She runs the back end. It's a ton of work, but she's like an awesome partner with it.
Right.
And she's the one. I don't do anything with it. I might help find the deal, but mostly it's these guys finding it, and then my wife takes over and she's running the job, whichever direction we go with that. And we have other people to help with that stuff too.
Mamie, yeah, please jump in.
I was just going to say, if you don't have $15 million to be hanging out, my husband also
Not right now at one time.
Investments. We have 13. We have always bought and held, and that my husband he runs all those, and we've definitely used that as a way to get some of our regular clients into investing, like soccer dads, soccer moms, like talking to them, and they're starting to buy properties. What Mark Brace's thing that he had up, like I'm going to tell my husband, we need to buy now, because we're looking at one right now, and it's one that we went on a listing agreement, and he says, well, I'll look at entertaining selling direct to you, and again, want to sleep at night, so fair market value is what we want to pay him, and obviously it needs some work, so that's a good way, again, to keep your clients still purchasing with you. Whenever I sell a home to a first-time buyer, like one of my parting words is, when you're ready to move again, I want you to call me, but we're going to try and figure out a way for you to keep this house and buy a house, because I tell them I don't want to sell this house. I think this is a great rental property. You should keep it when you're ready to go. And it's not difficult even for yourselves when people are like, use all the lingo and what's your cap and what's this. I'm like, well, this is what my payment is. And this is what I'm getting for rent. So this is good. This is a good one to buy. So it doesn't need to be all that difficult, honestly.
Yeah. So the 13, how did that start for y'all? Was it one a year? Did you have a strategy, or just as the opportunities came?
I always wanted to buy rental properties. I grew up going to tax lien sales with my dad in Naples, Florida. And whoever was a Naples person, I have some parcels I want to sell in Collier County. But I always wanted to do it, and I remember my husband's like, we're not going to be here. We're not going to be here. We'll be in here 7 years. Well, 20 years later, we are still here. So I think it was 10 years ago, and we were on a listing appointment, and I'm like, Westside Schools, this is a perfect rental property. It was an estate, and literally he kept telling her and talking. I finally just had to kick him. And if you've heard me before, my husband isn't subtle. I kick him, and he's like, did you just kick me? I'm like, it's supposed to be subtle. But we ended up buying that property, and it went from 105 to 250 now. And one of the things that my husband does do well, I always give him a hard time, he is really good at, if you look at our checking account, we are broke. We have like no money. I'm always like in there, I'm like, we're broke. But he's paying off all of our stuff like so rapidly, so quickly, just to make sure we have all that equity in the houses. And he's great at that. So
that's awesome. Yeah, Nico, what about you?
So I do residential resale and new construction as well. So I own all the ground that my builder will build the houses on. So I own like a lot of ground, lots. And then we're just we're working on closing on a 45-acre parcel. That'll be our first development that we're doing. That's kind of crazy. So that's kind of we do a couple flips here and there, but I always end up putting way too much money into them and make them too nice. So I'm like, I made $5. Fuck yeah. All right. Yeah. But no, so the ground ground's always been something that my family's done too. Like a lot of my clients who are extremely wealthy, one thing they have in common is they own a lot of ground. So I'm like, I want to, that God's not making any more of it, so probably a pretty good investment. Kind of like Adam too. And then other ancillary businesses. Just I'm trying to build up passive income, but kind of like Adam, I usually go all in all the time too much. I had a good buddy tell me though, we were looking at doing a project, and it was like a $10 million project. I'm like, this is just too much. He goes, if they loaned you $1 million, could you pay it back? I go, no. He's like, so what's the fucking difference? Might as well take the $10 million. It's gonna be the same results probably either way, so shoot for the moon. So I mean, like, they can't take your birthday, they can't take your family away from you.
No more debtor's prison.
Yeah, just start over. It's all right. It's a purge.
Yeah, that's good. All right, so let's wrap up with this.
Well, here,
just remember,
we're in real estate. So if you're talking about getting into real estate or investing, like,
do it.
What's the worst thing that can happen? You keep it as a rental because the flip didn't work out, or
you
go
sell it?
Like,
Yeah.
That's it. Worst case scenario. Just sell it. Move on. Next.
Yeah, it's good. So let's wrap up with this. Kyle, I'm going to come start with you, and we'll work our way down. If you were starting over, what's the one thing you would do to get started? Because there's a lot of people here maybe that have seen some plateaus or even seen their business pull back. What's the one thing you would do to get some momentum and start building again?
I'd say first and foremost, just make a list of just every damn person in your life. Just put it on Excel, names, emails, phone numbers, and get into a CRM and utilize it. The best CRM is the one you use, and you really need to have this data point, because if you're playing catch up like me, who didn't do this, you're trying to figure out creative ways to get people's birthdays. You're creeping on Facebook, or you're throwing it on like a purchase agreement, hoping they fill that part out. You're just some way, but that's what I would do. And then just of course staying in front of your sphere. That is the bread and butter business. They already have an inherent layer of trust with you. And they want to do business with you. And so your sphere of influence should really be the buoy to your business. And if you want to make more money beyond what they offer, then you prospect, then you lead gen. But you really lean into your sphere as much as possible.
Nico, let me rephrase this a little bit. If you had to double your business in the next year, what would you absolutely do?
Work my sphere a lot better. Yeah, definitely. I think in that, going back to even your first question too, if you were to start over today, what's one thing you'd focus on? It's just definitely being more attentive to that database. I mean, those are past clients that trusted you, that spent money with you. I mean, those are easy layups. Actually not, actually doing some drip campaign, actually doing Popeyes, actually doing a client appreciation party, I think would be, absolutely crucial. Then also just creating a detailed roadmap of where I want it to go. I mean, not just, I'm going to get into real estate. What do you want to do? I'm going to sell a lot of houses. Well, how are you going to do that? I don't know. Well, what are you going to do after? Well, I don't know. Like a detailed roadmap. Like, I'm going to sell this many houses this year. This is my goal for production. But I'm also a detailed roadmap. Like, what am I going to do for myself personally from an investment standpoint? Not just go and blow all this money on stupid shit that 3-5 years from now is not going to matter.
That's good. Mamie.
He said sphere, definitely sphere. Obviously, again, we're all referral agents up here. But one of the things, just real quick, I was always a run from fear person. My husband's always I'm run from fear, and he's run towards, what is the word? Danger? No, not danger. No, good stuff. Run towards pleasure. Thank you. That's the exact word. So I'm run from fear. He's run towards pleasure, and we just came back from, being gone 35 days this summer all over the place. So I'm from fear. So the first thing I did, one of my agent said, someone want to do my open house? I'm like, yes, I will absolutely do the open house. And just going back to that, met some great people. I always, if I'm going to spend the time, I work it. I follow up with people. I am a stalker. If you came to my open house, I will find you, even if you didn't give me where you live, and you're going to get a card from me. It's very easy to do. And just work that. I put a house under contract yesterday during the meeting that a guy I met at that open house 2 weeks ago when I got back. I met the guy across the street because the lawn looked like crap, and I went over there and I said, I am so mad at you. And he's like, and I go, I'm holding this house open, and you couldn't help this guy teach him how to do a yard, because his looked like beautiful, and mine was awful. He's like, I've tried. And so now I've met Mr. Hollis. Just really trying to work those things. I would go back to that, joining groups. I didn't know anyone here when I moved here, so I joined my sorority alumni club. I joined all sorts of guild boards. And then if those aren't working out for you, leave and move on, by the way. If 3 other realtors join, it's been fun, and move on, because you should really be working those for leads.
Really good. Adam?
I would probably just track as many KPIs as you could implement in your life as you possibly can for business, all business tracking, track your numbers. I wish I would have done that 15 years ago. If you're going to ask me how would I double my business, I would say I would call 10 past clients a day versus 5, So yeah. It's doing stuff like that. I probably would have, I'm the king, and Kobe, I can see him in the back, he runs my team. When I sign up for something, I don't just sign up for one thing. I'm like, let's start 3 things at the same time, which is stupid, right? Like, so maybe start one thing, get it good, and then go on to the next one.
Yeah. And it's been a great group. Let's give them a hand.